The day the Williams family went bankrupt. The entire elite circle was reveling in my downfall. My longtime rival Ethan seized the opportunity to twist the knife. Emily, he drawled, sliding a document across his mahogany desk. Two options here. Sign this contract to become my kept woman, or spend 3 decades paying off your debts by selling overpriced cocktails in some shady nightclub. When I scrawled my signature, society's vultures circled, salivating at the prospect of the fallen heiress becoming a rich man's plaything. Yet as I watched Ethan, 6'2" of tailored Armani perfection, burn yet another omelette in my former penthouse's kitchen, reality struck harder than his cologne. Our rivalry predated puberty. I'd pantsed him during 3rd grade recess. He'd retaliated by spray painting future spinster across my junior prom dress. Last year's bidding war over the Manhattan waterfront development nearly ended with us throwing punches in the boardroom. Even the cavaliers at his country club avoided mentioning our names in the same sentence. Now, facing 9 zeros worth of debt, becoming Ethan's pet project seemed preferable to dodging loan sharks. At least the devil wore Prada and had better bone structure than a GQ cover model. More importantly, the man showed less interest in women than a eunuch at a strip club. Rumor was he hadn't dated since that ill-advised Yale experiment with the women's lacrosse team. Regretting the pantsing incident yet? I muttered, watching him curse at a smoking skillet. My momentary guilt evaporated when he slammed down the ruined pan. Bed. Now. Ethan barked at 8:07 p.m., appearing in my doorway like some sleep-deprived Greek god. I glared up from my Kindle. Are you concussed? It's Tuesday night. Last I checked. Kept women don't keep bankers' hours. His jaw muscle twitched. Coffee. Study. Now. That night involved 38 trips between the espresso machine and his leather-bound first editions. By 2 a.m., my legs shook like a newborn giraffe's. The real shock came post-shower. My California King mattress had been replaced with a yoga mat. Where's my bed? I demanded, storming into his monochromatic master suite. Relocated. Ethan didn't glance up from his stock charts. Kept women earn their keep. Starting with shoulder rubs. As my fingers dug into his stupidly perfect deltoids, realization dawned. The man who'd once called me asexual harpy was now staring at my silk negligee like it held the secrets of the Rosetta Stone. Damn, I thought, stretching my mile-long legs across his ottoman. Should have charged extra for the floor show. Less daydreaming, more kneading, came the growled order. When the grandfather clock chimed midnight, I collapsed onto the tatami mat, limbs screaming. Somewhere between the 3rd espresso and 11th foot massage, I discovered 2 truths. Ethan's obsession had nothing to do with revenge, and my days as a kept woman were going to be anything but restful. However, my suffering wasn't over yet. Emily. Half conscious. I heard someone calling me, staring at the enlarged face hovering above mine. I desperately wanted to slap him. I hate being woken up more than anything. But then I remembered Ethan was my benefactor. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Forcing my eyes open, I plastered on a smile. What's wrong? Ethan delivered his statement with robotic indifference. If I can't sleep, neither can you. You jerk. That's it. I shot upright, glaring at him fiercely. Keep this up and I'll hire 8 male models to stage a coup. Finally. Blessed silence. I tacked on another demand. Turn off the lights. I can't sleep with them on. After a moment, faint footsteps padded across the room. The blinding overhead lights soon flicked off. Next morning, I blinked awake to find Ethan standing bedside in his tailored suit. Expression unreadable. I ignored him, rolling over with a huff. Suddenly I was airborne. Before I could process it, my back hit the carpet. My angry retort died when I met his arctic stare. Swallowing hard, I scrambled up and assumed my best obedient posture, feet together, hands clasped demurely. How may I serve you today, sir? A derisive snort came from above. Hilarious. Coming from last night's little firebrand. My muscles locked. Payback time? Time for damage control. Must have been the caffeine hallucination. You really shouldn't drink espresso after midnight. Heart attacks make terrible headlines. Ethan's jaw twitched imperceptibly. He ordered me to get ready for work. But I'm high maintenance. Noted. Move. After he left, I shadowboxed his imaginary back before surrendering. The office reveal stunned me. He'd made me his new secretary. What about Lucas? Lucas Thompson was the bespectacled prodigy who'd followed Ethan through 7 corporate bloodbaths. Rivals had offered him private jets and 7-figure salaries. He'd stayed. Combined with Ethan's well-known aversion to women, I'd shipped their bromance for years. He needs rest. 3 simple words. Yet I detected undertones of concern, care, and affection. The next moment, knocks echoed at the door. Lucas entered with contracts. Pausing mid-step upon seeing me, I quickly retreated several paces from Ethan. As expected, Lucas flashed an approving smile and nodded. While Ethan reviewed the documents, I subtly eyed the assistant's broad shoulders, tapered waist, and well-defined backside. Ethan truly had excellent taste. Enjoying the view? Absolutely. I answered automatically. Shall I introduce you? No. I wouldn't dare. My spine stiffened as I realized who I'd been speaking to. Ethan's disapproving glare met mine when I turned. He mercifully dropped the subject, instructing Lucas to train me. This assignment felt like discovering a treasure trove. I barely restrained myself from interrogating them about their private lives. Mr. Carter has chronic gastritis. Ensuring timely meals is your top priority. Only those who care would emphasize health. I doodled a heart next to this note. That evening, Ethan's phone conversation drifted through the door. I'm not interested in women. Stop setting me up. My suspicions solidified. He'd always stolen male friends during kindergarten. My childhood attempt to pants him suddenly made sense. The signs were always there. The next morning, Sophia strutted into the office wearing sky-high stilettos. Her lip curled at the sight of me. Look who's here, the bankrupt heiress. Rather than selling yourself, you chose corporate slavery? $1 billion in debt. How many sugar daddies would you need to clear that? Why not beg? I might toss you some charity. I rolled my eyes. Still eating shit for breakfast? Oh wait. You literally did once. Middle school rumors about Ethan and me had prompted Sophia to ambush me with 3 lackeys. I'd overpowered them all, grinding her face into sidewalk feces. Our feud deepened ever since. This entire mess was Ethan's fault, that gorgeous troublemaker. I glared at his closed office door. The next second, the door swung open. Seeing this, Sophia immediately rushed to Ethan's side to tattle. Ethan, if you hadn't come out, I might have been beaten to death. She pointed dramatically at me. Me? Swear to God. I hadn't even touched a thread of her clothes. Just as I opened my mouth to defend myself, I caught Ethan's disgusted glare. Didn't I warn you never to show your face here again? Sophia's complexion turned ghostly pale. She bit her lips stubbornly. Why does Emily get special treatment? I'm your arranged marriage candidate. Ethan snorted coldly. When did I ever agree to that? That day, Sophia left in tears. 3 days later, Margaret sought me out. She revealed Ethan had flatly refused to consider arranged marriages with any woman. These days, he won't even interact with females. The whole social circle's buzzing rumors about physical inadequacies. My conscience pricked. This situation might trace back to me. Emily, I've watched you grow up. Though Ethan constantly clashes with you, at least he tolerates your presence. Margaret hesitated, lowering her voice. I want you to straighten him out. Holy crap. So I wasn't the only one who knew his secret. Noticing my lack of surprise, Margaret sighed. You've noticed too. Last night we argued. He declared he'd rather date men than those society girls. He's only ever befriended boys since childhood, clearly orientation issues. I didn't commit immediately. Sexual orientation isn't some light switch. Plus, Ethan's vindictive nature spelled danger. Seeing my hesitation, Margaret offered immediate debt cancellation plus $5 million upon success. Sold. When you're broke, $5 million deserves instant reverence. Later, I began discreetly researching Ethan's preferences. Within days, office gossip painted me as a gold-digging social climber. I let the rumors stand. Money-earned humiliation seemed fair. That evening, an email arrived detailing Ethan's habits, preferences, and demands for me. Sender, Ethan Carter. Me? Mandatory requirements. Answer Ethan's calls immediately regardless of circumstances. If impossible, text explanation. Personally select holiday gifts matching Ethan's tastes. When Ethan is happy, I have to share his joy. When he's upset, I must cheer him up. 18 pages of instructions? Did they mistake me for some Japanese corporate drone? Just as I was about to slack off, my phone buzzed. $1 million deposited. Then came the text from Margaret, 2 characters, deposit. My hands trembled so hard I nearly dropped my phone. That's Carter family money for you. Throwing around cash like confetti. I immediately sent back a salute emoji and strutted into the study. Darling Ethan, what coffee shall I prepare for you tonight? Ethan looked like he'd seen a ghost. Ignoring his expression, I flashed my sweetest smile. Working hard? Need a back massage? His face twisted in horror. Emily, are you trying to smother me in my sleep? Now I was confused. Sure, we bickered constantly. But since when did we want each other dead? Don't be ridiculous. I'd never. He snorted. 7th grade. You accidentally gave me expired juice that gave me food poisoning. That was an honest mistake. Freshman year. You helped me get lunch and nearly choked me to death with fish bones. Complete accident. Track meet junior year. Your supportive cheering made me trip and fracture 3 bones. I shifted uncomfortably. Truth was, every time I tried being nice to Ethan, disaster struck. Maybe I should return the money. Blood money never spends well anyway. As I turned to leave, his hand closed around my wrist. Where do you think you're going? Songbird? His smirk made my pulse race. You're my golden canary now. Entertaining me is your job description. He made me memorize that cursed 18-page document. After 2 pages, I slammed it down. Who needs 36? 5 degrees Celsius bathwater? Are you made of sugar? Just memorize it, he said without looking up. 10 minutes later, I snapped. These demands are insane. No citrus? Shellfish, but someone has to peel it? Who raised you royal nannies? Ethan leaned back, rattling off, you hate oranges but love sweets. Refuse milk tea. Adore crab but won't get your hands dirty. Enough. I grabbed the papers. Cheeks burning. Ethan, my lifelong rival, knew me better than anyone. While my parents built their empire, I'd been left with abusive nannies who left bruises like fingerprints. They threatened me not to tell my parents. Even if you do, no one will believe you because the security cameras only show us taking good care of you. They always beat me in the bathroom or toilet where there were no cameras and my cries wouldn't be easily heard. I did try telling my parents, but they'd hang up after 2 sentences. Claiming work kept them busy. When I reached school age, they started hitting me through thick clothes and blankets to avoid leaving marks. Everything changed when I met Ethan, the first person who noticed. Back then, I felt both relieved and terrified. Relieved someone finally saw my suffering, yet scared that exposing it might bring worse consequences. Ethan didn't make a scene or report to teachers. Instead, he asked why I never told adults. They said they'd kill me like they did my pet if I snitched. I had this adorable kitten, they smashed it right in front of me. Ethan stayed silent for a long time after hearing this. Eventually, he promised to help. I didn't take it seriously, we were just kids. Returning home that afternoon, I found the housekeeper's child holding my favorite stuffed animal. Without thinking, I snatched it back. Who said you could touch my things? My hands shook seeing the torn ear. I shoved the kid hard. The housekeeper dragged me into the bathroom, shoving my face into the toilet bowl. My memory blurs here. What I do remember is an elegant woman, Margaret Carter, storming into our house, lecturing everyone who'd bullied me. Little Ethan stood behind her, watching quietly, sighing at the memory. I turned to Ethan. I've decided to be nicer to you from now on. After all, without him, my torment might never have ended. He glanced over with mild interest. Such as? How about I draw you a 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit bath tonight? Lying awake on the tatami mat. I finally texted him around midnight. Sleeping? Can't sleep. Talk with me? No response. Moments later, the bedside lamp flickered on, casting warm amber light across the room. I asked if he usually slept with lights on. No. Maybe you should start. After prolonged silence came his deadpan reply, sleeping with lights on stunts your growth. Was he calling me short? I huffily rolled over and somehow drifted off. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Considering Ethan's apparent disinterest in women, I decided to win him over through his stomach. Rising early, I prepared an elaborate breakfast spread. I'm sacrificing precious sleep to cook for you. Touched? I asked pointedly. Ethan's mouth twitched. More like paralyzed. Are you mocking my efforts? I huffed. He studied me silently before countering. Emily, why aren't you eating your own cooking? Avoiding eye contact. I mumbled. It's not to my taste. Calling it unappetizing would be generous. He deadpanned. I stubbornly insisted. The thought counts. How many guys get home-cooked meals from someone like me? Face it, you need a woman in your life. I batted my eyelashes dramatically. Ethan exhaled sharply. Look. I get that you're grateful I saved you from that mugging. But this feels less like gratitude and more like psychological warfare. I nearly choked on my indignation. Me, a bombshell with curves in all the right places, being treated like some nuisance? Fine. If he couldn't recognize quality, I'd just have to recalibrate his preferences. Smiling sweetly, I offered a charred toast slice. Don't be dramatic. Real friends look out for each other. You're special to me, Ethan. My little speech only made him more guarded. That evening, I found his bathroom door firmly locked. So much for trust after I've bared my soul to you. I complained when he finally emerged. Damp-haired and wary. He scoffed. The only people bearing souls these days are organ harvesters. Undeterred, I gestured to his towel-dried hair. Let me style it for you. Better hurry before it air dries. He muttered, reluctantly sitting at the vanity. Seizing the opportunity, I continued. Admit it, wouldn't a girlfriend make life easier? Not me. Obviously. Just someone. As the blow-dryer hummed, I discreetly inhaled his cedarwood shampoo. This project required patience. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were reformed playboys. The real challenge would come tomorrow, Operation Pool Party, where strategically invited sorority sisters would help demonstrate heterosexuality's merits. For now, watching his reflection scowl at my accidental neck brushings would suffice. After all, the $50,000 bet with Sophia depended on turning Carter Enterprises air straight within 3 months. And Emily never lost a wager. Ethan's entire body went rigid. Since when did you become such a saint? Should I thank you then? I could hear the fury laced in his words. Immediately shutting my mouth, I shrunk into myself like a quail. Never mention women around him. Oddly enough, he didn't seem to hate me as much as others. My thoughts were interrupted by a pained yelp. Emily, I knew you were up to no good. Guilt flooded me as I stared at the small clump of hair accidentally yanked from his head. Just as I opened my mouth to explain, he sneered. Are you actually a dude? No woman has grip strength like that. The puzzle pieces suddenly clicked. This whole time he'd thought I was some gender-ambiguous creature? Everything made sense now. He could accept same-sex relationships and transitions, but not heterosexual ones. That night, insomnia struck again. What kind of trauma could make Ethan this deranged? After hours of tossing, I marched to his bedside. Ethan, wake up. He rolled over, ignoring me. I'll start causing chaos if you don't get up. He launched upright, murder in his eyes. This better be life or death. Emily, or I'm strangling you with these sheets. His lethal glare made me chicken out, the words dying in my throat. His laugh held no warmth. Got the guts to wake me but not to speak. Cornered. My sleep-deprived brain blurted. I can't sleep. Get up and go back to bed properly. Ethan actually chuckled before threatening to end me. One of us isn't walking out of this room alive. He ultimately spared me, but had staff deliver an extra bed to the guest room before dawn. When Lucas returned from leave a week later, I sighed for the 18th time outside the locked office door. 90 minutes and counting, those two had clearly forgotten the outside world existed. Some paychecks really aren't worth earning. My heart ached staring at the pitiful numbers in my bank app. Was I truly unworthy of financial stability? New girl. Stop slacking, file these before clocking out. The gravelly voice of Olivia interrupted my wallowing. She dumped an avalanche of documents on my desk. Done? Then you're done. The recently returned department head had made me her personal target since yesterday, alternating between unreasonable demands and passive-aggressive snipes. Putting down my phone, I began tackling paperwork. By noon, Lucas came to remind me about lunch. His charming smile made me momentarily lose my composure. Your drool is showing. A cold voice interrupted. I turned to find Ethan standing nearby, his expression stormy. Recognizing his jealousy, I immediately switched to flattery mode. Wow. I was about to comment on how handsome someone looked. But clearly there's a whole other level of attractive standing right here. I watched Ethan's lips twitch with suppressed satisfaction. During lunch, he even, shockingly, placed a piece of meat in my bowl. Men really are just overgrown toddlers. The internet never lies. The afternoon found me swamped with work. Lucas frowned at my hectic state. I didn't schedule this much for you today. When I explained about the morning's tasks, he grabbed a file and scowled. These are years-old documents. There's no urgency here. This workload is impossible to finish in one day. She's deliberately making things difficult for you. Rage bubbled up. This was blatant workplace bullying. Confronting the female director Olivia, I received her self-righteous rant. I clawed my way from poverty to earn advanced degrees and fought thousands for this position. Of course I resent Nepo hires like you waltzing in through connections. Her audacity almost made me laugh. So your life's hardships are my fault now? This isn't justice, it's mental illness. I snapped. Jealousy is one thing, but sabotaging others? That's deranged behavior. The irony? Ethan dragged me here specifically to cover workload so his precious Lucas could take leave. Now I'm getting punished for it. Enough, I'm officially done. The instigator himself appeared as my anger peaked. What's wrong? Ethan asked, taken aback by my expression. Nothing. Just your love bodyguard getting a little bruised. After Lucas explained, Ethan's face darkened. Abusing authority to harass colleagues? You're fired. Olivia's panic-stricken apologies fell on deaf ears. Her venomous glare as she left made me protest. Why am I the villain when this was your mess? Frustration overwhelmed me. Before anyone could react, I pinched Ethan's waist hard. He jerked violently, hissing through clenched teeth. The sight of him trembling but forced to maintain dignity almost made the whole ordeal worthwhile. The surface remained calm and composed. Terminating director Olivia wasn't just about her bullying newcomers. During this business trip, she secretly contacted competitors. From the company's perspective, I had to take action. Ethan turned to me. Thanks to Executive Assistant Emily for preventing corporate losses. Let's give her a round of applause. I offered a polite smile while increasing the pressure on his wrist. Only when the thunderous applause subsided did I release my grip. Ah, much better. Ethan discreetly massaged his lower back in relief. His gaze suddenly locked onto my desk. Turning, I realized my notebook lay open to the page documenting his stomachache. Distracted earlier by thoughts about him and Lucas, I'd absent-mindedly filled the margins with heart doodles around my clinical notes. Since Lucas's return, I'd become redundant, confined to my desk with nothing but mindless busywork. My body ached from prolonged sitting. Ethan insisted I remain on-site to keep him company during work hours. Out of pity, Lucas began assigning trivial tasks and occasionally indulged me in gossip sessions. My gratitude toward him grew daily, such a solid guy, making me increasingly guilty. Both Ethan and Lucas were decent people. How could I sabotage their relationship? I contemplated refunding the matchmaking fee yet hesitated. Resolving to clarify matters, I spent half an afternoon working up the courage to ask casually, someone as wonderful as you must be popular. Any romantic prospects? Should I introduce you to someone? He smiled, shaking his head. I'm taken. With a man. Wow. He must be amazing. My heart sank. Lucas nodded enthusiastically, pulling up his phone gallery. The photo froze my blood. The man wasn't Ethan? Was he being cheated on? Or had he failed to confess? Damn. How incompetent could he be? Couldn't even secure his man. This required intervention. How long have you two been together? If recent, maybe Ethan still had a chance. With enough persistence, no relationship was unbreakable. 12 years. I inhaled sharply. How does he treat you? He's my light. The kindest soul in my world. Lucas explained his impoverished childhood, middle school dropout laboring in sweatshops, nearly dying from exploitation. He met his boyfriend, another tragic youth. They'd saved each other, building better lives through mutual support. He's actually disabled, broke his legs working construction to fund my college education. When Lucas said those words, there was no disdain in his eyes, only deep concern. I sighed heavily, deciding to stop worrying about Ethan. Let the man die alone for all I cared. That same night, I returned the money and resolved to play my role as the perfect trophy girlfriend until he tired of me. Then I'd pack my bags and disappear. But the numbers in my bank account mocked me. After the Williams family's bankruptcy, my parents had fled overseas overnight, leaving behind over $100 million in debt. If Ethan hadn't intervened, those loan sharks would have destroyed me. Now penniless, I'd be sleeping on streets without his protection. I needed income, fast. This required Ethan's approval, which seemed unlikely. After all, he paid $10 million for his caged songbird. Most wealthy patrons preferred their arm candy mindless and dependent, human ivy clinging to their money and status. My hands trembled as I voiced my request. He considered in silence before nodding. You were meant to shine. The unexpected kindness stung my eyes. Bad investment then? I joked weakly. Bought yourself a troublesome canary. Ethan's laughter rumbled like distant thunder. Self-awareness becomes you. Though, his gaze lingered. You've exceeded expectations. Heat flooded my cheeks. I rushed to explain my design career plans, my actual degree collecting dust since graduation. My voice faltered, describing zero experience and empty pockets. Open your studio. He slid a check across the marble counter. My breath caught at 6 zeros gleaming under crystal chandeliers. You'd risk this? Chase your dreams. The loss is mine if you fail. 6 months later. My boutique thrived, loan repaid with profits to spare. Fate brought me back to Sophia at a charity gala. My arm looped through Ethan's as his date. Her porcelain features twisted. You rejected me for this? Her manicured finger jabbed my direction. The Williams are bankrupt. She's practically homeless now. How am I less? I yanked my hand free, desperate to escape this drama. The auctioneer's gavel echoed my pounding heartbeat as emerald eyes tracked my retreat. The next second, my hand was tightly gripped. I turned around to look at Ethan, thinking, man, you're really throwing me into the fire here. Just as predicted, Sophia went ballistic the moment she saw it. She charged over, ready to throw punches. Ethan immediately stepped in front of me, shielding me, looking to die. Miss Miller? The sickening crack of bones followed, accompanied by Sophia's agonized pleas. This was the second time I'd seen Ethan this furious. The first had been when loan sharks cornered me. He grabbed a baseball bat and swung like a madman at those trying to rip my clothes off. The commotion drew immediate attention. Sophia's parents rushed over, hastily apologizing for their daughter. Ethan maintained his grip, turning to me. Miss Miller's got too much venom. Since we're hosting this charity auction tonight, perhaps your family should focus on philanthropy. The Millers froze momentarily before nodding. Having fun? Ethan raised an eyebrow at my grinning face. Absolutely. Though I was merely borrowing his influence. Seeing those bullies finally hesitate felt glorious. They'd think twice before harassing me again. Want to enjoy this even more? What's that mean? Pick anything from the auction. I'll get it for you. His intense gaze held no trace of humor. Remembering Sophia's earlier accusations, panic surged. Was he actually into me? That made no sense. Ethan famously avoided romantic entanglements. He'd told me so himself. After prolonged internal debate, I blurted, "So, you like me?" Thank God. She finally gets it. But you don't date. I avoid others, just not you. My brain short-circuited. Ethan, you're serious? Dead serious. Pause. Like. Actually serious? Serious. I don't believe it. Suddenly, Ethan swerved to the roadside. Expression unreadable. Emily. Yeah. Wait here. Before I could react, he exited the car. I slumped against the seat, pressing trembling fingers to my racing heart. Pathetic. Ethan returned quickly, holding a bouquet. I've researched this. A proper relationship should start with flowers and an official confession. His voice trembled, hands shaking visibly, stripping away his usual composed demeanor. He launched into an earnest declaration. So, will you be my girlfriend? When met with silence, panic flashed across his face. You can take time to think. I'm not rushing you. Should I consider it then? Just, don't consider too long. I might be slightly impatient. I pressed my lips together, nodding. Ethan exhaled sharply in relief. I've considered. Yes. I threw myself into a bear hug. Once official, I began teasing Ethan mercilessly. Emerging from the shower, I found him frowning at my sprawled form on the bed. Emily. He sighed. You might not understand men, particularly men who feel strongly about you. We should take things slow since we're newly together. I smirked. Just sharing a bed. Not planning anything. Can't the great Ethan control himself? Ethan possessed this eerily calm intensity, the type who'd sip tea during an earthquake. Was my early bedtime annoying him? I thought, Why run? We're all doomed anyway. I wanted to crack that icy composure. Make him lose control for me. Only then would I believe he truly needed me. My parents' relationship had been all cold serenity, no love between them. Nor for me. That's why they discarded me so easily. You'll regret this. I'll take the guest room. Ethan turned to leave. Fine. I'll tell your mother you're underperforming. He froze. What sane person introduces their girlfriend to parents immediately after dating? Yet this gave me leverage, Mrs. Carter had explicitly offered a return policy if any issues arose. Watching his internal struggle, I offered consolation. If you truly can't control yourself, the floor's available. The bed remained mine. I smugly tucked myself under the covers. Eventually, Ethan surrendered, lying rigidly beside me. Restlessness kept him shifting positions. After his 38th toss, I threatened, keep moving and I'll kiss you. Silence fell. Later, when asking when he first liked me, Ethan shrugged. Can't recall exactly. From our first meeting, I knew I'd always protect and stay with you. The realization struck me like lightning. So Ethan was my light all along.